as we are so consumed in our daily lives. It may be hard to think back on what we have gone through since the dawn of COVID. We expect that government and institutions would have some sort of contingency planning, even though that was proven to not always be the case. But what about we as individuals? Our reaction and counter-reaction to the physical and mental effects of COVID would have been largely unscripted. Being faced with fears of the health of others around you, not to mention your own well-being. Struggling to piece together money to pay bills when losing your job. Being forced into isolation. Being confronted with your own demons when all of a sudden the world stops. This video will take a reflective view of COVID, and as COVID has affected our lives in so many different ways, this video will concentrate on you. It will focus on some of the individual reflections that we have felt during this time, and some perhaps still lingering in your own minds. But also converging on what we can learn from COVID and to advance us into the future. I'll also be referencing materials from these two books. And please show your support by subscribing to the channel and leaving your comments. At the height of the pandemic, we all experienced an information overload. For a time, COVID was the only news we had, with the relentless reporting of a number of cases and fatalities, not to mention the misinformation and fake news. And what this brings is a level of uncertainty. Would things ever be brought back into normality? Are we endangering ourselves or become a danger to others? Relearning the emotional rituals that were inbred within us. The handshakes and hugs being exchanged for masks, Zoom meetings, and social distancing. And what developed was a hysteria, like we were in a hunt to find those who were infected, and for the many who were not sure. Unless it was plainly obvious that one was sick, such decisions as testing and leaving your house during COVID was beyond a simple deliberation, but an overall dissection on how it will be judged by others and the consequence of shame that comes from it. We all of a sudden became more territorial when we blocked out others from other countries, within our own states, or even when we blocked out other communities. We could say, perhaps in conclusion, that the overall consequence of the pandemic was how it implanted a level of uncertainty that we were not used to. We cannot be accused of exaggerating the impact COVID had on all of us. And when we think about it, it is true. We were vastly unprepared for the events that occurred. The pandemic brought to the surface many things about who we are, the best and worst of our behaviours. The best was our sense of solidarity, unexpected acts of kindness, where the worst, perhaps, was when it unearthed our unnecessary hoarding and callousness. It also, though, unearthed a sense of appreciation of what we had before the pandemic and the relief we felt when we got it back. And these were simple things, the importance of how we can connect with nature, engaging in a thoughtful conversation. Put simply, how we cherish our freedom. This, in essence, is a key learning of the pandemic, that it forced us to stop and reflect on our lives, which for some would have caused a great deal of discomfort. Yet it provides us an opportunity for growth and regeneration, to realise how fortunate that we really are. It gave us a new appreciation of time, as during the pandemic, time would have soared and then stalled. And within our four walls, we wouldn't have realised there was still a forgotten beauty within the world if we can only just see through. And while COVID has and will still impact our lives in many different ways, it is through the advent of the pandemic is when we can look yonder to appreciate what we always had. And that is the exquisiteness of our freedom. As it is only when it is quiet will we ever hear the hummingbird hum.